I'm Nye from Finale Guitar in Sheffield, and you're watching my channel Folk Friend, your one-stop shop for Celtic backing guitar. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about the modes and how they work, and we're going to be looking at how we can use the 7 Greek modes made out of the major scale to work out all the chords for an Irish tune in any of the 4 modes that Celtic music uses. Before we start doing that, have a look at my t-shirt. I'm well pleased with this. It's just come in the post today. It's absolutely lovely, really comfortable, 100% cotton. If you would like a Folk Friend t-shirt to show off your folkiness, get one. They're in the link at the top corner. They are now available. They ship in the UK and abroad as well. So no matter where you are in the world, you can be as stylish as me with a Folk Friend t-shirt. So go and have a look at that, and then let's get started with this clip. What we did in the first half of the video was we had a look at the Ionian mode, otherwise known as the major scale, and I showed you why there's a certain pattern of intervals that we like, which is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, and how that pattern of intervals tells you all the chords that can fit with a tune in a major key. If you haven't seen that video, I suggest you go and watch it first, unless you already know about that stuff and you just want to learn about the other modes. So, in total there are actually 7 Greek modes, as they're sometimes known. The reason they're called that is because they're named after regions of ancient Greece, because it was the ancient Greeks who kind of worked out how they all fit together and wrote it down for posterity. The ones that are used in Celtic music are only 4 of them, and those are Ionian, Dorian, Mixolydian and Aeolian. So it's those 4 that we're mainly going to be focusing on. The complete list of modes is on the wall over there at the moment, and I've highlighted the Irish ones in red. What we're going to do is take the pattern of chords that we worked out for the major scale and apply that to all the other modes. So let's adjourn to the piano and I'll show you how it works. We discovered in the first part of the video that the pattern of gaps that the ears like to hear is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. Now there are basic reasons rooted in the physics of sound and how our brain processes auditory signals which make that pattern of gaps appealing to us, and I'll be covering those in future videos. But let's just recap them starting on C. So we go up a tone, up a tone, up a semitone, tone, 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 semitone, and that gives us a C major scale. If we start on other notes, we end up having to hit black notes in order to maintain that pattern of gaps, and that's what gives us the key signatures. If we take the notes that we played in our C major scale, but instead of starting on C, we start on D, we're going to be effectively moving our pattern of intervals all one to the left. So we're going to be doing from D to E is a tone, from E to F is the semitone, F to G, that's a tone, G to A, that's another tone, A to B, that's another tone, then a semitone to C, and then a tone to take us back where we started. What we've just made, I'll play it again, that is a D Dorian scale. That is a minor type mode, but it's a sort of optimistic minor. If we take the 3rd mode, we're going to hit all those same notes, but starting and finishing on E. That gives us the E Phrygian mode. So that one's a very dark kind of mode. It's very popular in Spanish music and Eastern European music, but it is not common in Celtic music at all. There is not really any Phrygian Celtic music. So for my Celtic backing guitarists, you don't need to worry too much about that one.
Olé!
The next mode, starting and finishing on F, will give us that, which is an F Lydian mode. It sounds very much like a major scale, except that the 4th note is raised by a semitone, which gives it a dreamy quality. Up next, starting and finishing on G, we get that is mixolydian. Mixolydian, very common in Celtic folk music, so that's a useful one to remember. And the mixolydian has a kind of cheeky flavour to it because it's like a major scale, except that the 7th note is flattened by a semitone, and that makes it sound sort of bluesy, or like I say, a little bit cheeky. Up next, starting and finishing on A, we get that one. That is A aeolian. That's also very common in Celtic music. That one is what I call the pessimistic minor, because aeolian has a flattened 6th as well as a flattened 3rd and a flattened 7th, and that gives it this kind of extra minor miserable flavour. And the final mode, the 7th one, Locrian, starts and finishing on B in this case, and it sounds like this. Now that one, if you remember, we said the 7th chord was diminished chord and it's kind of uncomfortable. Well, if you were trying to write a tune in Locrian, it would start on a diminished chord, and you can't really get any resolution by resolving to a diminished chord, because a diminished chord by its nature sounds uncomfortable. So there is very little music written in the Locrian mode, certainly none in Celtic music, and you'd be hard put to find any from anywhere else in the world. There is some, of course, but it's not common because it doesn't really resolve in a way that we find pleasing. So that is all the modes. We're going to adjourn to a little list of them, which I'll pop up on the screen. And next to them, I'm going to show you what their individual characteristics are. For folky musicians, it's very important that you come to recognise the sound of the modes Ionian, Dorian, Mixolydian and Aeolian, the 1st, 2nd, 5th and 6th, because they're the 4 that are commonly used in Celtic music. So the Ionian is a very bright, cheery, happy, majory sort of scale. That's your standard major key. Dorian is more common than Aeolian of the 2 minor ones. Dorian is a minor, but it's a fairly optimistic minor. There are dramatically more Dorian tunes in Celtic music than there are Aeolian tunes. So if you find it hard to spot the difference between those 2 modes, it's usually fairly safe to assume, if you're in doubt, that it is Dorian. Mixolydian is bluesy / cheeky. It sounds majory, but then you get that flat 7th in there, and it gets a sort of air of mystery added to it. And Aeolian is the pessimistic minor, as I said, but like I say, it's less common than Dorian, so if you find it difficult to tell between the 2, assume that it's Dorian and you won't go far wrong. We discovered in part 1 of my guide to the modes that the major scale was made up of a certain pattern of intervals, and that led to there being 7 chords available which you could make out of the notes in that scale. Now that we know that the other modes are made out of that same pattern of intervals, but starting and finishing at a different point from within the pattern, that tells us that those modes are actually going to take the same chords as the major scale to which they are related. So for example, if we're talking about the modes related to C major, so like D Dorian is the same notes as C major, that also means that it's going to contain the same chords. The only difference is that it's going to start and finish from the 2nd one of them. So where in C major you could have the chords C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor and B diminished. So now for a tune in the key of D Dorian, that means the chords are going to be D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major, and then you're back where you started on D minor. That applies to all the other modes which you can make from the notes in the key of C major as well. So the 5th mode that you could make in C, C, D, E, F, G, that would be the fifth mode, G mixolydian. So G mixolydian contains those same chords as well. So the main things that you need to remember are the numbers of the four main modes used in Celtic music. So Ionian is the first mode, otherwise known as the major scale. Dorian is the second mode. Phrygian, Lydian, not used. Fifth is mixolydian, and the sixth is aeolian. Those are the Celtic ones. The amazing mode wheel from Finale Guitar makes it quick and easy to remember every single chord that is going to fit in a mode. The way it does that is by showing you all the chords around the centre like this. So for our example in C Ionian that we were just talking about, it says C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and then you're back where you started. It also tells you all the other modes which are related to that one and shows you that they contain the same chords. So for D Dorian, for example, it shows you there all the chords are the same. For G mixolydian, the chords are the same. And for A aeolian, the chords are the same. Now let's say you're trying to find the right chords to fit with a tune that you've not heard before, but you know that the tune is in the key of E Dorian, a very common folky key. So what you'd do is you'd get your mode wheel, you'd turn the little dial so that the Dorian window is over E, and now you can see all the chords that are in E Dorian. Your options are E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished, D major, and E minor. That would tell you that that has got the same key signature as D major. So you can very quickly and easily see what the key signatures are by just looking round to the Ionian segment, and that will remind you that the chords are going to be the same ones that are in the key of D major. Let's take one more example. Let's say we had a tune in another common folky key, A aeolian. So I'll get my aeolian segment down here and I'll squizzle it round till it's on A. So now it says A aeolian there, and I can see my complete list of chords that will fit with a tune in that key here. So I've got A minor, B diminished, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and then I'm back where I started on A minor. So as you can see, the mode wheel is a really useful little gadget. It's great for several reasons: as a quick way to see all the key signatures, as a very easy way to learn and memorise those, as a way to find all the chords that fit with any folk tune in any mode, and as a really useful visual way of understanding the relationships between the different modes and helping you to memorise that and better understand it. If I've persuaded you of their merits and you would like to get hold of one, they retail at £12. They're available through the shop page of my website, which you'll find in the top corner of the page right now. And you can also learn a lot more about all the music theory you need to know to become a great Celtic backing guitarist in my ebook, which is linked at the end of this clip. If you'd like to be super stylish like what I am, you can also get one of my Folk Friend t-shirts, now available. They're on the shop page as well. Hit that little link in the corner of the screen and you'll be taken straight there. Thanks very much for watching. I'm off to Spain for the next 3 weeks, but don't worry, I will have loads more great tutorial content coming out very soon. I'm still going to be making a couple of videos while I'm there as well. So hit the subscribe button, click the little bell next to it as well, and you'll be notified when my new videos come out. And there's going to be loads more great free tutorial content coming out from Folk Friend very, very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next clip.